105.5 and 105.
Let me see a special good morning to those of you listening to Classic Radio 105.5, 105.9 on the FM dial. Those of you viewing us via GBN TV, good morning to you. Whether you're viewing Channel 7, Channel 11, Channel 20, good morning. Those of you via social media platforms, let me say good morning to you also. What about those of you via our GBN's webpage? That's gbn.gd. Good morning. Welcome to The Point. I'm your host, GT. And this morning with us, we have, of course, Detective Constable. That's Avona Dominic. And also a woman detective sergeant. We have you, Nancy Joseph, both of them with us this morning, representing the Special Victims Unit with us this morning. Let me say good morning to both of you and welcome to The Point. How's everybody doing this morning?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having
good morning.
us.
I find that good morning seems to be, I don't know, everybody seems to be relaxed for some reason or the other. Or is it a sign of nervousness? I don't know. But I'm sure for the, of course, Detective Sergeant, is this a regular thing for you? Not your first time. Not your first time. Avona, Detective Constable. First time being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. So our conversation this morning was on child safety and protection. That's really the nature of our conversation this morning. And it's relatively an important subject matter because we've been here, the safety of children is important in our nation. And sometimes, parents, guardians, the society as a whole needs to know a lot in terms of the importance of having children safe within the communities and on the island as a whole. Mm-hmm. So that's going to be the nature of our conversation this morning. If we have to start off the conversation this morning in terms of prevalent offenses committed against minors, we hear a lot of offenses taking place from time to time. Mm-hmm. Some are more prevalent than others. Some we will hear about, and sometimes due to the nature of it, mm-hmm. it is kept not under wraps, but is not made as public as it should. You understand? Let's get into some of the most of those prevalent offenses that really takes place that maybe we should know about. I'm not sure who's going to take the mantle on that this morning.
Well, I'll have Ms. Dominic give a list of the offenses shortly, but I would like to take the opportunity to at least let persons know who the Special Victims Unit.
I will agree.
Agree. It's relatively not so new, but it's been established since 2018 of September, and it was established jointly with the Ministry of Social Development. Okay. So our department deals primarily with reports of a sexual nature, the domestic violence issues, and of course the child abuse issues. We are responsible for coordinating and monitoring and providing guidance to ensure that we have effective investigations of those matters and that those investigations are done in a timely manner, because we have issues of statute of limitation and so on and so forth. We also collaborate with other stakeholders. Just to name a few, we work together with the Child Protection Authority. We also work together with the Legal Aid and Counseling Clinic, and of course the Gender-Based Violence Unit, which is attached to the Ministry of Social Development. Okay. So we provide victim support and we do advocacy for victims of any one of the three offenses three categories of offenses that we deal with. Okay. The Special Victim Unit also initiates community programs. So sometimes you would see a march being held in one of the parishes, and it's aimed at either domestic violence, sexual violence, and child abuse, all with geared at giving the information, or they're getting the information out that these are topics that needs to be discussed. Okay. These are ills in society that we need to look at, and we need to start standing for and putting it out there, letting persons know that we're standing against these type of offenses against women, children, and our boys as well. And just letting the public be aware that they should be doing things, and that the information that they should get in order to spot these things when it's happening within their household or within their communities and societies as a whole. We do lectures at schools, and we would have embarked during the August holidays. We saw that we had a rise in some of our offences, in particular with children of tender ages, between 10 and down. So we thought it best that we go out, try to captivate on them while they're home, and not home for the carnival, but not in the tense environment of the school, but a relaxed location in the summer schools.
Okay.
We taught them about the good touch, bad touch. We taught them about their body parts. We taught them about the safe persons who they can go to give this information to once they're victims or they become victims of either one of the offenses. And basically, it was well received. We got a lot of information. We are now in a position where we are better able to deal with these children when they come in to make reports at the different stations and departments.
Okay. As you on that, before you of course they speak about the offences, as you spoke a whole lot about as relation to the special victim. Tell us the importance of the unit in particular. Why was it that important to formate a unit? You said it started in 2018. The importance of formating such a unit.
Well, they saw the importance in having a unit that deals specifically with those offences because there was a rise. You know, some when you listen to the news, and especially when they open the assizes, the high courts, you hear every time they say that the sexual matters are the matters that are topping the list. They have a high volume of these cases coming in. So the authorities saw it best to put forth a unit or develop a unit where we have officers who are trained specifically to deal with these issues. These are very sensitive issues and they are very important issues. You need to be able to relate to someone, get somebody in that comfort zone, much as how you're trying to get us comfortable here this morning in your zone, to allow persons to be open with you, because in order to successfully prosecute these offenses, we need the information, and you have to be in a space, you have to have that mental power, you know, to
allow individuals to open up to you to speak about it. Sometimes they kind of,
to speak
when
about
these matters occur, individuals always have a tendency, depending on how serious it is, or the nature of the whatever has occurred to them, they tend to keep it bottled up inside, and it's not even easy for them to speak, especially now they see you more as a stranger than maybe as a family member, and especially if it's a family member that who commit the offenses. It's even more difficult to open up to strangers to speak, or even speak to their family in relation to it.
Right. So that was the push to put that department in. So we've since branched out. We have officers on the Eastern Division. So we have an officer who's attached to the Grenville Police Station, and she is specifically there to deal with these issues on the Eastern Division. We also have somebody on the Western side. So she's located at the Glen Police Station and deals with these matters that would come to that district.
All right. Certainly happy to know that. And I'm assuming you said that during the season. We're going to get to you shortly, don't worry about it. You said going out into the various jurisdictions during when they are at home, the youngsters at home and the summer schools and stuff. And you said it was well received. Has there been an issue where going out to these matters, especially when the youngsters at home, and it was difficult to get them to converse with you all? Was it that difficult?
Well, it's never really difficult to get children to speak, you know. Children are these creatures that are so innocent and they're so open and they're very honest. Children are very honest. If it is A, then they will say generally it is A.
Okay.
So no, it's not very hard. We tend to know how to
get the conversation rolling.
Right. We tend to know how to fit it to get to little children. We are equipped with some dolls. Okay. So when we go, they're all excited about seeing the dolls and all of that, and to get them in tune with learning the different parts of their body, and not only just learning the different parts, but the proper and correct names of those parts of their bodies. And learning that the good touch, bad touch applies to those private areas. The persons are not supposed to touch them there, or ask them to touch them in their private areas as well. So it was very, very receptive. They loved it and they participated, and we had a good time going around for the summer vacation.
Okay. Now, even before we get to some of the prevalent, because the nature that we go in here, it seems is suddenly a grab my interest. Now, parents also plays an important part in this. Has there been an opportunity where the special victim unit had an option to talk to parents in relation to issues of that nature?
Well, we have embarked on it. Has been done through PTA meetings, where officers would go to the PTA meetings and they would speak to the body there who's attending on sexual matters, letting parents know some of the things that they should look out for.
Yes, those signs.
Some of the conversations that they should have with their children at home, and some of the things that they need to do. They need to take action once these things have been reported to them, because sometimes we have instances where these offences are being committed within the household, and some parents, they're hesitant or they don't want to come forward, or if they do,
sometimes they're unaware too, right?
Well, yeah, they're certainly, most of them are unaware, and some of them they've been told, and the children, when they figure that, well, I've told mommy already and nothing is happening, they start going to the schools. They would disclose to the teachers and maybe to their own peers.
Yes.
So we try to encourage them as much as possible to look for the signs, have the conversations with the children, and also encourage them that when the information is brought to them, that they should come forward and report it to the police.
All right, great. It's interesting to note. We due for a first break. Let's take it. When we come back, we're going to get into those most prevalent offenses when we do come back. All right?
Lovely.
Stay with us, folks. It's To The Point here, Classic Radio GBN TV. We'll be right back after the break. Don't touch it.
GBN is your home for this year's Republic Bank CPL. Please note there will be adjustments to our programming lineup on Tuesday, October 1st, Wednesday, October 2nd, and Friday, October 4th. Transitions will air at 5:05 p.m., followed by GBN Television News at 6 p.m. And don't miss the news repeat right after the CPL match. Transitions will also be rebroadcast after the news repeat, so you won't miss a thing. GBN, bringing you sports coverage anywhere and everywhere. Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GBN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GBN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gbn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
As Grenada grapples with the devastation of Hurricane Beryl, Season 3 of GBN's Our Climate Reality program is focusing on the impact of climate change on small island developing states. Join us on GBN Television, K105 FM, and our Facebook page and YouTube channel for Season 3 of Our Climate Reality, Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Compliments, Grenada Paper Products, and Classic Lighting.
welcome back to our listeners and viewers to The Point, Classic Radio, GBN TV, or social media platforms. Once again, welcome back with us, and to officers, welcome back also. I want us to get into those prevalent offenses committed, especially against minors. I want to hear about some of those most prevalent ones that we see here on island a whole lot.
Right, so some of the most prevalent offenses that we see reported at our department are those of child abuse, like causing harm, insulting language, threatening language. We also have sexual assault and indecent assault. That's one of the most prevalent one, indecent assault. And then we also have indecent behavior. We have sexual intercourse with minor. That is having sexual intercourse with a child below the age of 13 and also between the age of 13 and 16. Right. We also have child pornography and cultivating online relationship with a minor.
Okay. Now, how are these offences that you spoke of, how are they dealt with in the initial stages, if we could answer that? How is it dealt with initially? I'm assuming, yes, someone will have to report it for starts. Now, what sort of the process goes through, especially from the police point of view? How is it dealt with?
So, when they make the report, we would take statements. When the statement is taken, we proceed with investigation, like taking further statements, like witness statements and so on. And then we would do the the detention of the accused person, and then we would ask questions. You do interviews with them, and then based on the evidence that is provided through the interview, we decide whether or not to prefer charges against those persons.
All right. Anything you want to add to that?
Well, not really. She covered it. She covered it quite well.
All right, good.
So we also work along with Child Protection Authority when we deal with these issues with children. All right. So Child Protection would be working.
So where does the child protection? That's what was leading to my next question, because I understand it's also the child protection also plays an important role, especially when it comes to young folks.
A very important role.
Where does the Child Protection Authority steps in after the police have taken care of their end? When do they step in?
The Child Protection Authority actually, from the beginning, since the matter is reported from the onset, the Child Protection Authority is notified. Here we have a report of a child, and in Grenadian laws, a child is considered to be anybody under the age of 18. Yeah. So once we have a report being made and the victim is below the age of 18, we instantly notify the Child Protection Authority as to the existence of that report, and then they will go about through their process and assign a caseworker to that case. All right. So if that child needs to get medically examined, the Child Protection Authority would be the lead in that instance. They would assist the police in going to the hospital. They would sit with the police to get the child to a comfortable space to open up to give the information that is necessary. And thereafter they provide counseling and whatever guidance and support that they need to those victims of those matters.
I'm assuming also if that particular child or minor needs to be removed from the home, also they also take care of that.
Yes, the Child Protection Authority is the sole authority on removal and relocating children from homes. All right. Victims from homes.
No, the action, you spoke of course, the action of protecting children from becoming victims. What are something that folks can do, especially the parents, not allowing children to be becoming victims of those, offenses that can occur? What are some of these actions that can parents also do?
So the parents can speak to the children, educate them on the good touch and the bad touch. That is important. Also, the parents should educate the children on the correct names of the body parts, especially the private parts. Most children would say san for vagina, they'll say totalos for penis. And so it's important for them to educate the children on the correct names. Also, the parents should also focus on the devices that the children use. Because most times the children foster relationships on
what they pick up from social media devices that you allow, that you permit them to use and so forth. Yes. You speak a lot about the good touch, bad touch. Maybe there's a individual who is listening right now, always maybe take care of a particular child or children out there, and thinking about that good touch, bad touch. They may see it as nothing. You understand? It may not be their intention or the intention of an individual, but When we speak of the good touch, bad touch, well, define that a wee bit for me this morning.
Okay, so the good touch is places that is considered appropriate for someone to touch a child, right? And we would consider good touch like a parent taking care of a child.
Okay.
Or a child visiting a doctor.
Well, it's your daughter.
Yes.
But there are parents who have bad ideas too, right?
Yes.
That's what they do.
So it's for care purposes. When you touch them, make sure it's for care purposes.
Okay.
Right? And also a child visiting a doctor, right, for medical examination. So that's considered good touch. Maybe a hug, a pat on the back, a high five. That is considered good touch.
Good touch, all right.
Right, and bad touch is considered as places that is inappropriate for someone to touch a child.
All right, understand it. Especially when they refer to their private parts.
private
Private
parts,
parts.
yes.
We also try to tell them, try to get them to understand that a good touch would make them feel in a particular way as opposed to how a bad touch would make them feel. So we also engender into them that good touches should make you feel comfortable, loved by that individual. And a bad touch, once you feel that sense of your discomfort or you feel, oh, that person should be touching me, that please. That's a,
mom and dad don't do that to me. You as a stranger who's offering that particular touch,
so
something's not right about that.
Yes.
So once we explain that they have that feeling, then they should say something about that person touching them. We will explain to them as it relates to the touches on the outside of the clothing as opposed to somebody pushing their hand beneath their clothing and trying to touch their body parts or trying to get them to touch their body parts, because we've had some offenses where persons are lowering children to perform sexual acts on them. Yeah. So that too is a cause for concern. So we've also taught them not to accept gifts or monies, or even when an adult is telling a child, this is something that is a secret between me and you. No adult would tell a child to keep a secret. So we try to get them on that thinking path and having them have that information. Hey, you tell it. Why would you tell me to keep a secret? I'm going to tell my mommy about this secret. Yeah. Even as far as the threats, because they do use threats to children to keep in a way to keep them silent and not to come forward and say this is happening to them. So we've done a lot of work. We've tried to as much as we can. I still believe that we have a long way to go in terms of getting the information out there and getting the children fully with arming them with the information and the necessities that they need to take action on their own. If you telling mommy repeatedly, mommy, this is happening and mommy is not listening, then you go to your teachers. You let your teachers know. You tell your older brother or sister within the household, this is happening to me and I don't believe it's right. Something needs to happen.
What are some of the main concerns, the special victim unit is having, especially when it relates to, some of these offenses happening to youngsters? What are some of the concerns that you really having, I should say?
Some of the concerns that we're having is that Ms. Dominic spoke of the phones. We've seen a lot of the teenagers who are now they're making that bold step, and the step is becoming younger. We've seen 12, 11, and it shocks us most times.
Wanting to have those gadgets.
And the parents, we really want to encourage you to pay attention to the gadgets that you give your children. You take it from them, you do spot checks, you check out the applications that they're into, you check the conversations. There are adults who are on those social media platforms. They're presenting themselves as children to these teenagers, and they're asking them for photos of themselves, naked photos. They're building that sort of relationship with them online, drawing them into their homes or wherever they feel it necessary, and they commit those acts against these children. And by the time the parent is aware as to what's happening, then that teenager is already under the guise that they love that person. Oh, that person means good for me, and that person wants what's best for me. So the constant conversations with children as what is expected of them and what they should be involved in at a proper age, both boys and girls, because we do see some of the girls are being aggressive, and some of the boys are getting into trouble because of some of these actions that they take. So both boys and girls, speaking to them, informing them, There's nothing wrong in going up online and you go onto the Nexus Act and you go into the laws of Grenada, you scroll down to the section from 179 onwards what deals with the sexual acts, the sexual offences, and you educate your children on some of the things that are out there. You try to get them in a position where they're able to say no to certain things, and if it does occur, then they know what action they need to take thereafter. So it's the conversations at home, the parents being parents and not friends, and being firm in parenting. These are some of the things that are causing some concerns.
I mean, sometimes folks always make the mention of it's not always to be good to be friends with your children.
Right.
You understand? I understand. But I also sometimes have a different persuasion towards that. I think you could be friends with your children, but there are stages of your friendship.
Yes.
Just establish boundaries with
and
them.
there are boundaries, so there are boundaries that you will not cross. Yes. I mean, I'm good friends with my son and my daughters. You understand? I'm good friends with them, but there are levels that I will take it. There are things I would not allow them to cross.
Exactly.
In terms of our friendship.
Exactly.
And some parents do allow it where their children can do or say anything to them, and see it as not, that's my son, that's my daughter. You understand? So that is concerning sometimes, and especially when youngsters have get into that rebellious age. That becomes a problem now, where it become uncontrollable for them to tell them anything, because you have minimized your authority so much to that child, and then it becomes a problem.
Yes, certainly so. So and the Child Protection Authority does a lot of work in that regard as well. They work with the parents of the children as well, trying to get them into that kind of positive thinking and mentality, showing them where they're going wrong, trying to put them on the positive paths. And I also want to mention too that the ministry does a lot of parenting programs.
Yes.
They would have done a lot of work just recently in some different communities and persons. You see parents kind of shying away from going to these activities because they don't want to be seen in a particular way. But it's never that. It's always you getting information with how, because the world is changing. The things that worked for children before 5-10 years ago, it's not working today. So you need to always up your game. You need to always be on top of your game with your kids, because you can have a smartphone. You give your child a smartphone for their use, and you as a parent, you can't access it. And even if you do, you can't maneuver through the applications to put certain things in place to allow to restrict certain things from that child. So we need to take these opportunities, grab it when it's being presented, and soak as much information as we can, because we do want to ensure that our future is as bright and sunny as we always say, Grenada bright, safe, but it's on us, the citizens, to keep that momentum going.
So let's talk a wee bit about the role of the general public, and that's an important factor also. You know, there are individuals out there in society who sees things happening sometimes to children or minors in particular, and say nothing. As we sometimes say, well, we minding we business.
Yes.
You know, no, the importance of we see these relations happening for someone, and the abuse that are happening to children. How important it is for folks and so the regular society to speak to the police or speak to someone who they know could have these problems not going beyond the level that they get to sometimes. How important is that for the general public?
It is very important. Section 183 of the Criminal Code, 183D1, that says that it is mandatory for someone to report if someone they know, a child they know, is being sexually abused or assaulted. So if somebody fails to report that, that is an offense.
Committed an offense.
Yes.
All right.
And the fine is $15,000 or 7 years imprisonment.
For knowing there's a particular issue taking place and you didn't report it, and you know you've been there or you see or whatever, and you know, and you didn't mention it, you could get yourself into problems for that.
Yes, you can. You can be charged for that. So that's why we always encourage the general public that when they have information, that they come forward and they speak to the police and they give the information necessary. The police cannot work alone. It's always said, and do you understand that the
But confidentiality always seems to be the hindrance in between.
Well, yes.
Confidentiality
we
always seems to some feel, they're going to know, well, it's GT that said it because GT was around or whatever, depending on how the information has been brought across. You could just say, well, only how somebody they could have known it is because X or Y was around. You know, so sometimes individuals, don't want to get themselves entangled for some reason. The child, well, I don't want to say. But you saying if I don't do that, I get myself in trouble. Well, I could be in a lot of trouble then.
Specifically with children. Specifically with children. Yes, you can be charged for that. So the confidentiality aspect of it, or the department, well, the RGPF on a whole, we're supposed to be a confidential body.
Yes.
If somebody comes and they relay information to us and it's of a nature with a sexual nature or put it into some investigation that we're doing, and that person says to you, well, I'm willing to give this information, but I do not want to be known that it is me giving the information.
Okay.
Then I don't think that bridge is ever crossed where persons would go back to say, well, Tom gave me that information. No, that does not happen. So we have hotlines. We have the 400 hotline, which is for the Special Victims Unit. We have the 911 number, which is available. And we have all the other host of numbers for the other police stations. If you have information of something going on, if you see something going on, then we are encouraging, we're asking the general public to say something. Call us up, pass the information on, and if once you speak to that officer on the line and you say, officer, I'm passing the information, I'm not giving my name, I'm just giving information so the police can look into that issue, then we would take the information and then the necessary department would be notified and the investigation will be conducted.
All right. When can someone deem or individual deem whatever offense is really whatever is committed becomes an offense? How can someone deem that being an offense? When I say that, not everything that you see going on may be an offense.
Right.
But how could someone, or does the authority deem as an offense? How is that? If you understand what my question is.
Well, I'm trying to understand, but I want to believe there are certain things that are classed as offenses in Grenada. We know they have the threatening language, we have the obscenities, and so on and so forth. So once you see something and you fall at the back of your mind, it says to you, this seems to be wrong, or for some strange reason, it just doesn't sit well with me that this thing should be happening. Even if you're home and, let's say for instance you're a neighbor and you're home and you hear this constant knocking or this constant noise coming from your neighbor's home and you are aware, you think something is going on over there. Nothing is wrong. You say, officer, I live in this area, but I think something is going on in that household over there. I think the police needs to look into something. And if at first glance and we get the information and we dissect it and we say, okay, maybe it's not necessary for the police to go to the front, then we could always lean on the Child Protection Agency and the other agencies who would do that soft approach. Go into the home, do a visit. Is everything going on? Is everything okay here? We're checking. We've had some information relative to the child, or they can even try different avenues. They can try speaking to other neighbors around, see if everybody has the same feel, and then when the investigation is conducted, it might reveal that something is going on, or it might be revealed that nothing is going on. But it's all in the view of keeping everybody, making sure that everything is safe. So once you have that niggling doubt in your mind that you think something is happening, don't be fearful, you need to report it.
I mean, offenses come in forms of abuse also, in terms of child abuse and so forth.
Yes,
so it may vary in terms of what's happening, in terms of the investigation.
So the child abuse is just the general term that is given, but once a report is made, then we need to dissect it and see where it falls. So it could either be a harm offense like Ms. Dominic spoke of, the causing harm, or it can be a grievous harm. In terms of the psychological and emotional abuse, then we would look to the type of language, how you speak to the child, the thing that is said to the child. You may be insulting that child, calling him dons, telling him he's stupid, or you may be threatening the child in different ways. So it depends on the actions and the words and the situation that exists and the circumstances, where we would have to look at the presenting information to conclude as to what offense suits or fits into a particular circumstance.
Okay. We drew for a second break in the program this morning. We're coming right back. For you folks, it's To The Point here on Classic Radio, GBN TV. We will be right back after the break. Stay with us.
The agricultural shop at the Renick Thompson building on the...
This holiday season, get ready for a magical celebration packed with culinary delights, crafts, and music that will bring joy to your heart. But that's not all. Lots of giveaways are waiting for you. Stay tuned and make this Christmas one to remember only with GBN.
Let's walk, let's go, change your attitude.
Looking to take your business to new heights? Advertise with GPN on our social media platforms and get noticed by our 138,000 plus followers. Reach a massive engaged audience ready to connect with your brand. No matter your business size, GPN is here to help you grow. Contact us today at admin@gpn.gd or WhatsApp 407-8458 to get started.
Welcome back once again to our listeners and viewers to the point here on Classic Radio and GBN TV. And with us this morning, we have the Special Victim Unit with us this morning. And we're talking about, of course, child safety and protection. It's important, of course, that we know the do's and don'ts when it comes to, of course, child or children in their safety in general. I want us to speak a little bit about some of the statistics that we out there that you have. If you do have the information to share with us this morning, okay, about some of the statistics that are out in terms of some of the maybe the offences or so forth in terms of the statistics. Let's hear a wee bit about that this morning.
Okay, some of the statistics that were presented from the Criminal Record Office. That's the office that is responsible for collating the information within the RGPF as it relates to offences and stuff that would have occurred for the year so far. Earlier, Ms. Dominic made mention of some of the offences that are prevalent. She spoke of sexual intercourse with minors, and that is an offence that is split into two categories. So it's an offence to have sexual intercourse with a child who is under the age of 13, and the other section speaks to between the age of 13 and 16. So as opposed to 2023, so the statistics I'm about to reveal are up to August of this year, from January to August.
Of 2024.
Right.
All right.
So as opposed to last year, which was 2023, we have seen an 82% increase of that offence in that of
82%.
82%
in comparison
increase.
to 2023.
In comparison to 2023. For the offence of between 13 and 16, we have seen a 65% decrease thus far.
Okay.
So that offence is steadily falling. In terms of incest, we had a 100% increase, meaning like last year we had no reports of an incest that reached the incest level, but this year we've had a 100% increase.
Okay, okay.
Indecent assault, as she said, is one of the most prevalent offences that we have. We saw a 53% decrease thus far. Just a matter of 4 separating in
terms of the percentage
in terms of
between last year and this year.
Yeah. For rape, we have a 42.9% increase. And in relation to child pornography, we have seen a 50% decrease from last year to this year. Rape is an offense that we're always plagued with. We give information out to the general public and to women in particular, as to ways that they can protect themselves and keep themselves safe and not become victims of that offense. We see that these offenses are continuously and predominantly done by persons that we know. So very rare we would see a report of rape coming in and it's somebody that the victim isn't
aware of or just happened to occur.
Right. So it's usually somebody that we know. Is either maybe a very close family member or somebody who is close to the family, a friend who we trusted. Is one of those persons. And we have to be able to look out for these signals that these men would give. Most time a man would come, he would present you with some form of you would get from the person that they're attracted to you. You would give them the response that you're not interested, but sometimes the blatant no
is not always accepted.
No, it's not always accepted. So you would see a lot of women are being victims of that particular offense. So we are imploring on the men in particular. Men needs to understand that no means no, that even if you engage in a sexual activity with a female and once it gets to that point and she says to you, I am no longer interested, I do not want to continue, then you stop and you step away, you step back. You don't just go ahead and just ignore that no. Sometimes they say the no means yes. But no could never mean yes in no way, no shape, or no form.
That's so true.
No is no.
Tell me, how concerned is it about some of the statistics that you see in terms of where the percentage has gone up? You talk about incest going to 100%. In terms of the rape and so forth, we've seen an increase in that percentage. How concerning is that for the Special Victim Unit?
Well, it's very concerning as it relates to these offences. Once we see this spike in or the increase in those offences, we try a lot to do a lot of educational programs, do lectures, get persons, give the information out there as to how they can protect themselves. We continuously tell persons that they need to operate in safe spaces, especially women. If you're going out and you know you're going to be drinking, that you need to be conscious of who you're accepting the drinks from, how the drink is being presented to you, so on and so forth. Ensure that you have a rhyme to get to and from where you're going to. And it should be in, if it's you and one trusted friend, then somebody should know that, hey, my friend is out with that guy tonight. Yeah. And I should be back home at X, Y, and Z time. If you don't see me, or if you don't hear me shouting you through a text, then you need to check up on me. There are a lot of safety measures that we could actually employ to kind of prevent ourselves from being victims of those offences. But sometimes we can't help it. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes these offences are very violent in nature. Sometimes these persons, they attack females, they use weapons, and so on and so forth. So the women sometimes, what we're asking is that when these things do happen, that you step forward, you report these incidences. We're there to support you. We're there to guide you through the process. The gender-based violence unit, the ministry also provides any form of counseling that you would require in order to get you through these traumatic experiences that you may go through. So it's very, very troubling for us, but we do a lot of work, and we know we have a long way to go, and so we're prepared to put the work in to see, if not a drastic decrease, but a steady decline for those offences.
A question that always seems to bother me, and I want to ask, I'm not sure how, in terms of your response to it, is it a case where individuals do not respect the penalties that would, or the outcome of knowing when they commit these offences that I could get in trouble for doing it? And then we see the percentages continue to increase. Is it that folks are just not caring about the penalties that they will incur?
Well, I would say so. Some persons are blatantly
because
the penalties for these offences have been increased.
And you hear the public know of these particular incidents happening. Not that you know that it's happening, and the individual go to court. They get themselves charged for whatever reason. But then we see it continue to happen. Is it that people are not having the respect for the penalties that can employ on them?
Well, I would want to say certainly. We have a lot of repeated offenders in these instances too. And we have persons who would have been charged for this type of offences. They're known predators. They go to prison and they come back out, and in less or no time you see them reoffending.
Go back for the same offense again.
Yeah, they're reoffending. The penalty is quite strict for these offences. They've been increased quite considerably, I would say, but we still see them happening. And most of the times it's from the repeated offenders.
4352041. Of course, for our listeners and viewers out there, if you do have a question or two that you may like to speak to, of course, our officers in relation to our conversation this morning, feel free to do so in this segment. Let's take our first call. I have another question that relates to, let's entertain the caller, and then we'll, of course, entertain the question. Caller, good morning, and you're live.
A pleasant good morning to you. And I must say that I was a bit surprised to hear of female detectives, especially in the RGPF. I mean, it's in the bigger countries. Okay, I could understand that. I also want to compliment your guests on the way they delivered themselves. Perfect English, no, and I admired this very much. I'm wondering if they ever entertained the thought of, say, going to a PT meeting and would, of course, be lecturing to mothers. And I'm saying this because there's some mothers afraid to talk to children, approaching, say, the menstrual cycles, fathers to talk to boys of experiences they have had penis and that sort of business. I hope I'm not being disrespectful. So that everybody would be well informed and know exactly how to prepare the children as the day and days go by going to school. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate your contribution. Any response to the caller presentation this morning?
Yes. Thank you, caller, for calling in, and we welcome your suggestion as it relates to the Parent Teachers Association meetings. We have been to a few PTAs, but I think that we can do a lot more in terms of visits to the PTA meetings where we would actually meet most of the parents. So we are currently embarking on that venture where we're aiming to infiltrate, especially the parents as it relates to this type of offenses that are prevalent, and give the education out to them, give the information out to them so that they can be fully aware as to the do's, the don'ts, the hows and the whys, and be in a position to take the appropriate action. So
okay,
yes,
great.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Caller, you're live. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to your guests. I grew up in the 60s, and these things were prevalent, especially gang rape, but the guys used to call it broth, a girl, and a broth this and a broth. And this sex things were so prevalent and nobody took heed. So I think over the years it has increased because men just take girls as things to use and you could just rape them anytime, and horses of guys could just rape one girl. And as a child, I used to hear about broth. And I used to wonder if they were probably fish broth or something, but only to realize it was gang rape. And I knew fathers used to be sexually involved with their daughters and uncles, and this thing was so prevalent. It's just because now everything becomes in the open that we've been shocked, but I don't think we should be shocked because this is Grenada thing. It's like a culture, and we should have to learn to break this stigma. It's deeper than what you think. It was there since in the 50s. Fathers sleeping with their children. If you talk to a lot of aged people nowadays, some of them don't even know their father. Sometimes some of them father was the child's father, and all kind of a reckless thing used to happen in the 50s, 60s. And I know. So it's sad that this 2024 is increasing, but I don't think that there is an increase. I think that there is exposure and things stop being swept under the carpet. So we're seeing the ugly and stinkiness that's happening now. Sorry. But this is reality. Have a good day.
Thank you, caller. Certainly appreciate your contribution. We do have another caller. Caller via WhatsApp. Good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, my friend, GT.
Good morning to you.
Beautiful lady around here, GT.
I guess you can see that, sir.
Anyway, GT, okay, what I want to say to you, all right? Okay, I heard the young lady give some statistics, right? But she didn't break it down with the young boys and the young girls. She just give the statistics in general. I think she should really break it down as one, so we could know the age limit. And most time we hear cases like that is either if something went wrong or maybe the person died, and then we hear a case like that. So what I would like to know that if they have a sexual registry, like we have in the United States, you could just go online and then people name pop up and they have to stay a certain amount of distance from the school area, playground and stuff and things like that. And then also what I want to know again too, okay, we hear about the increase and everything, we heard about the repeat.
Of course, usually we have that dropout from the WhatsApp callers from time to time. You any response to the caller in terms of if you do have those statistics in that form?
Well, the statistics as it relates to the amount of boys and girls are available, but we just didn't have it prepared for this morning. So the statistics that we presented is general statistics, which would include both boys and girls that were affected for the year so far.
Okay.
And no, we do not have a sex registry implemented as yet.
But there are plans for it?
Yeah, there have been talks of getting one in place.
Okay.
Right.
We do have another caller. Caller, good morning. You're welcome and you're live.
Yes, good morning. You guys talked about that we have a duty to report incidents and suspicion of abuse. And if not, there is a fine. The thing is, it is very hard to accuse and to tell somebody they knew. And if people know and they're hushing it up because of shame and they're trying to cover what's going on in the house or with a friend, and they choose not to report, it is very difficult to tell that person you knew. So people will know and people will not tell, and there is no consequences because you cannot tell and prove to somebody that they knew and they chose not to report. So this is very, very difficult to monitor. People are out there knowing things and they're minding their own business. Grenada have a thing now. They're minding their business and they're afraid to get involved until the person's dead, until they see the person in the hospital. They're minding their business and they are not doing the duty to protect these children. And these children, they need to learn to stop wanting free things. There is no favor, unsolicited favors, and this is a red flag. And the parents need to discourage the children from taking free things, from telephones to hairstyle and braids and Kentucky and top-ups. These are the laws. When you see man offering you these things, when you see your child coming home with things that you did not provide for them, you know some of these parents know where they know the children not supposed to get it, but they're benefiting from it. So basically, they're selling out their children, encouraging them to bring home the things that they themselves are benefiting from. Children need to do with what they make do with what you have and stay away from the free gifts. Nothing is free out there. Thank you.
Thank you, caller. I appreciate your contribution this morning. Any response to the caller?
Well, as you relate,
just appreciative of what she said.
Yes. As it relates to the mandatory reporting, she mentioned that it's difficult to prove whether somebody was aware or somebody knows. It will work in the way that if we are aware of a situation within a household, something is reported and the report didn't come from the household, but let's say for instance the child went to school and disclosed that is happening to them at home, and when we conduct the investigation, the child would say to us, well, I've told mommy about this several times in the past and the mommy never put a stop to it, or I would have told my teacher this is what is happening with me with that teacher, that particular teacher, and nothing was done. So based on that, we'll be able to prove as it relates to somebody having knowledge of sexual or something happening with a child and not coming forward to present the information.
Okay, great. Caller, good morning, you're live.
Good morning, brother, and good morning to your guests. I'll have to say, most of this talk here this morning is like word salad, basically. In my neck of the woods, there's an officer that was involved with that. The community have reported that man interfering with a young girl for a number of years. Until that young man turned on his own daughter. Now, what I'm saying is that when a man has been reported, based on who you are, the police don't really take it serious. If it's somebody on the ground, they move fast. They put you on remand. They don't care if you get out or not. But once it's somebody with a little bit of profile, they treat you different. Yeah? How can you pick up somebody with a gun and don't give them bail? We have to go to the High Court to get bail. But somebody that have a record in interfering with young girls, we put him back in the same community the next day. What do you expect going to happen when he's back in the same community? He's going to change his ways now? He's going to behave himself? You have a track record of interfering with young girls. You're not going to stop now because you're arrested. You have that he's sick. When somebody is sick, you put them inside and don't give them bail. You don't put them back on the street the next day. Have a nice day, brother.
Thank you, caller. Thank you for your contribution this morning. Let's take another caller via WhatsApp. WhatsApp caller, good morning. You're welcome. And be brief, please.
Yes,
GT, sorry that my internet fail again. Okay. The question I asked, I did not heard she answer me about the conviction, who convicted, and then we heard about some parents encouraging that. So I want to know if you
Seem to me have lost the caller there again. That dropped via the WhatsApp. Or apology for that. I'm not sure if you want to respond. If you do understand what when he was talking about the conviction, I'm not sure.
I didn't quite get the
that part
conviction. But in respect to the caller before, once a report is made to the police acts on the information received. Nobody is above the law. So anybody would have committed an offense and the information is made available to the police, and the persons who like the complainant request a particular action from the police, and the police will take the action necessary.
Okay. I wanted to get some your views on the age of course of individuals who committing offenses. I mean, there are young people who committed offenses also. When at a particular age is an individual of course could be charged for committing a particular offense, especially let's say someone is under the age of 16.
And well, in the state of Grenada, the age of criminal responsibility starts at 12. So the law deems that anybody 12 and above can be arrested and charged for an offense. So basically what is being explained is that a child at 12 years should be able to know the difference between right and wrong, should be able to tell whether they should be doing something like this or not be doing something like this. So from the age of 12, you can be charged for an offense.
Okay. We're moving up to just approximately 2 minutes before the top of the hour. Let's take our final call on the program this morning. Caller, good morning. You're welcome and you're live.
Yes, good morning. We need to look for the red flags. We need to look for the stepfathers and the boyfriends, okay? When you see scenarios of mothers having boyfriends and boyfriends living in houses with teenagers, a red flag. And as soon as they have a boyfriend, they're calling the boyfriend the stepfather. Look out for the stepfathers in the house, so-called stepfathers. Look out for the women who every boyfriend they have moving the boyfriend into the house and living with their teenage daughters. And you've seen strange relationships with the boyfriend and the teenage daughters. Women, please keep your boyfriends out of the house. Thanks.
Thank you, caller. Caller seemed to be a bit passionate.
Yes, she does seem to be.
All right, we have we're about to take a wrap. Get some closing contributions from you both before we take a wrap. And there's anything that you may want to, of course, reiterate on before we take a wrap this morning.
Okay, so I would like to reiterate to the parents: be intentional about your parenting. Like, be your child's parent. Do what you need to do to protect your child, to make sure that your child is safe and secure. Alright? Also, the parents should also encourage their children. While it's wrong for somebody to do you, like to sexually assault you or abuse you, it's also wrong for you to do it to somebody else. So be mindful of that.
Okay, great.
Generally, one of the callers would have spoken about the stigma associated with sexual crimes. So we want to encourage the public that we should always be loud and proud to stand against these offenses, these sexual offenses, the domestic issues that happen within households, and the offenses that are committed against children. We should all be loud and proud to stand and say that we stand against these type of offenses when they happen within our society. And we should also be loud and proud to let the perpetrators know that we are not going to hide you. We're not going to condone the type of actions that you're taking. Instead, we're going to make it known that you are that type of person. Yes. We're going to go forward with the information. We're going to go through the extreme to get you, let the matter go through to court so that there's a successful prosecution. So we need to be intentional, as Ms. Dominic say, as a society. We need to know that we don't want our society to be continuously plagued by these type of offenses. So we're encouraging persons to stand out and to be proud to say that Grenada is a state that is not for these type of offenses.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Appreciate a whole lot you being on the program this morning. Definitely what I call is an interesting conversation, and of course, lots of information thrown out. I know it has grabbed the interest of lots of our listeners and viewers this morning.
Yes.
And they will make this the right decisions when they have know of incidents of that of that nature occurring and report it and without any fear or favor towards individuals committing those offenses.
We look forward to serving the community on a whole as well.
All right, great. Hey folks, that's when we take a wrap for this edition of To The Point. Thanks to all those who contributed, especially those of you calling. Appreciate your calls a whole lot. Those of you via social media platforms, thanks for taking the time out to listen, viewing, and sharing the program this morning. Until tomorrow, have a good one, folks. That's where we say goodbye for this edition of To The Point.